Hello everyone, my name is Promise Odera Onu. You're welcome to today's topic. Today we are going to be looking at economy, consumption versus production. In a layman's terms, when people hear economy, it simply means demand versus supply. It simply means how much people want something versus how available those things are. Oftentimes you hear the words like GDP, which means gross domestic product, and HDI, human development index, when countries discuss about economy. Gross domestic product simply means goods that those countries produce, which is the supply. And then human development index simply means, compared to the numbers of people and how much they live on, or how much they're able to make. What's their bottom line, how comfortable is the standard of living for the people, and that's how they calculate and measure country's economy, which Nigeria is actually worse off in terms of the whole world. Amongst all the countries in the world, Nigeria is the poverty capital. Over 150 million Nigerians are in multi-dimensional poverty. So we have a very small fraction of people who are able to live above poverty line. And that's about 50 million out of more than 200 million. So that's really, really shocking. Our principal, Mr. Peter Obi, have been speaking about or talking about consumption versus production. Consumption will now be, if I'm to tally them together with what I was explaining before, consumption will be the demand, and then production will be the supply. Now, from my own understanding, having more demand, which is consumption, is not really a bad thing. No. But the problem is, if the supply is not equal to that demand, then it becomes a problem. So during COVID, here in the UK, there was a rush for things in the supermarkets. And that's where people find out that toilet tissue is an essential commodity. It was one of the few things that people scramble for and finished quite, quickly. So people were trying to stock up, for the whole COVID sit-at-home period. There was more demand and there was less supply because people were shutting down to avoid catching the virus. So that's a good example of when there is more demand and less supply. Now, let's look at Nigeria, for example. What is it that everybody needs in Nigeria? Or first of all, let us start with the basic needs of man. Food first, then clothing, then shelter. Okay? So, what is the demand of food? Are we able to feed the nation? Do we live on imported goods? I saw a news today or from yesterday that excuse me that Nigeria is the highest exporter of rice. Excuse me. So I was asking myself, if Nigeria is the highest exporter of rice, how come the cost of bag of rice in Nigeria is very expensive for Nigerians to buy? So it doesn't make sense. So if our GDP in terms of rice production is high, why again are we unable to bring the price down in Nigeria, knowing fully well there is demand for it? So it doesn't really tally up. And sometimes when you hear these government agencies coming up with this news, sometimes you have to sort of do your own independent research. I don't take their words for it. So simple way to, if you are to sort of judge Buhari's 7 years in office and see how well he's done as far as economy is concerned, because the most simplest way to judge an administration is the economy. it might be very difficult to judge security, although it's very obvious to calculate the number of deaths in this particular regime versus this particular regime or administration. So Buhari has done very bad because more people have died under Buhari than under Goodluck Jonathan and the Yar'Adua's ticket combined. So that's established. But that's not where I'm going to. I'm not speaking to security as a topic today. I'm talking about the economy. Now, if you want to judge how well this government has done with the economy, the best and the most simplest way to do it, without getting into the technicalities of the words or the calculations done by all these agencies, is how much is the price, or how much is the price of things in your area? How much is bread during Goodluck's time? How much is bread during Buhari's time? How much is fuel during Goodluck's time? How much is fuel during Buhari's time? How much is bag of rice during Goodluck's time? How much is bag of rice during Jonathan's time? And that is the. And if you even want to make it more fair, how much is minimum wage, which is the purchasing power of people, right, during Goodluck time, and then how much is minimum wage during Buhari's time? So that sort of helps you to put things in perspective. So regardless of how well these people want to tell us our economy is good, our economy is stable, Nigerians are doing so well in terms of recession, the whole world is suffering from inflation and blah, 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 blah. The common man on the street don't care about all these things. What the common man on the street want to know is, with your policies, with everything you are doing in power, how much does that affect my day-to-day activities? How much does that affect my ability to feed? How much does that affect my ability to transport myself from one place to the other? And how much has my income increased? Of course, I agree that because of the Ukraine-Russia crisis, everybody is suffering from an inflation one way or the other. Even those of us in the UK, we are also going through inflation to a degree. But then we have a system or a government that sort of helps to insulate people, especially for those who are living below a certain threshold. They make sure that you are able to not go hungry. Simple as that. They help you with food and basic stuff, help you with energy, support, household support, name it. Okay, that's a system that works. So it's not good for Nigerians to come out on TV, especially the presidency, trying to sort of compare Nigerian economy compared with the West, because there is no way you can compare the welfare facilities or the welfare system of those two category of countries, or the West and Nigeria. And another very, very case in study is the COVID period. Multinationals, keyword multinationals, and other businesses like banks and all the rest came together and brought out palliative, not the government, brought out palliative for Nigerians to share, Nigerian government to share to the people. Nigerian government hid those things in warehouses. And just for you to understand how much government cares about the people, all this happened during the APC. And this is why, with all this record, with all these things these people have done, it beats my imagination how they can come out and tell us that the election was free and fair and people voted them back in. To do what? To suffer more? I was listening earlier to Channel's interview about, from Jide Ojo, talking about how Naira redesign was happening 3 months to an election, to the almost end of your administration, and you start making Naira scarce. And people are getting naked in banks to protest that they want access to their money to be able to feed. People were spending money to withdraw their own money. So all sort of nonsense has happened under this regime, and I don't know whether that is what Buhari was asking for pardon for. But certainly, there is no point pardoning Buhari. Whether he's being pardoned or not, he should just go away. We just had enough of him. And we are praying that Nigeria will not make the biggest mistake of their life by allowing the so-called president-elect to be installed on the 29th of May. Because that will mean so many things. There is identity crisis. He has dual citizenship. He has perjury case. He has issue with his alma mater. There's so many controversies surrounding someone that wants to be the president of the biggest black nation in the world. So again, these kind of things can affect foreign investors, who are the ones that have the money to help push the economy of countries. Because again, you need to understand that individuals can do things that they can, like building of houses, buying of cars. Those things are good. It helps the economy. But what really makes the big difference are foreign investors or other countries coming in to spend in Nigeria as a potential economy that can yield back return on investment. Building things like Eco Transatlantic City, building major projects like big shopping malls, bringing in a lot of businesses in. These things cannot happen when they have doubts on the kind of personality we've chosen as our president, who is supposed to be our chief executive officer, or selling our countries to the world. So again, we need to understand the importance of our president on our economy and understand how our economy affects the lives of the common man. Now, when you look at the economy, right, or if you study the people, what moves the economy is not necessarily the rich people at the top or the middle class. The middle class helps, but the economy moves more or the lower class. When people go about their daily businesses, everybody is transacting, money is exchanging hands. Because of the sheer number of volume of those transactions, that's where the economy moves. That's where things happen, and then it move on and affects the things going up on the higher class. Because if you want to say how many people purchase lands in a day, for example, how many people purchase big houses in a day. So the middle class spends, but they don't spend those big bulk of money every day. Middle class or the rich class can buy companies or buy shares or buy a Lamborghini or very expensive things, but they don't buy it every day. So the spending power is big, but the frequency or the volume is small. So what moves economy is what the little people that are spending money every day, however small, but on a larger scale, that's what moves the economy. Which is going to bring me directly to my next point. You see, holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu back might mean something politically, but then it has an effect because of the Monday sit-at-home held by 5 states in the same Nigeria, using the same banking system, running the same economy as one country. Every Monday, which is the first day of the week, as the market and stock market opens on every Monday, these people are sitting at home and they are losing a particular day, which is meant to be the most important day of the week in terms of business, right? Now, if you look at the Naira redesign, all the policies that Buhari has been putting in place to help the Naira, it has not done anything to the Naira. Because the most important thing is that for your economy to grow, you need as much business turnover to be able to push the economy up. So when a particular people who are meant to be the most industrious or people who are more into businesses are not trading on a particular day of the week, I don't know what other magic you want to do, but the economy will not move up, and that in turn is affecting the value of your currency, which is the Naira. And that's why the Naira is still doing poorly against the dollar and against the pounds, even when fuel price is supposedly higher because of the demand given to the crisis in the Ukraine-Russian war and making Russia a pariah state. Now, if you look at these particular issues, what should Buhari be doing? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been in prison against a court order. Okay? Now, if we want Nigeria to move forward intentionally, especially because of our economy, and help the Naira to grow, we must appease the people of the Southeast. Now, railway was built all over Nigeria, and railway was not built in the whole of Southeast intentionally. Now, these people don't have access to waterways or water ports. Even the River Niger dredging has not commenced. Yes, we are happy that the second Niger bridge has been built by Buhari. But then if you look at Buhari met 15 trillion, or APC met 15 trillion in debt from by the PDP government. And then some money in reserve. There was money in the Federal Reserve abroad, foreign reserve. Now, Buhari is living with 78 trillion debt. So if you minus 78 trillion from 15 trillion, that's giving you about 63 trillion. That is what Buhari used, the APC used in 7 years. Plus the foreign reserve, which have been depleted from billions of dollars to about $400,000 thereabouts. Yeah? So they've now spent so much money in that 7 years, very short span of time. And guess what they've achieved? Second Niger bridge that cannot carry trailer. It cannot carry long vehicle. I don't know when they officially open it, if they're going to allow those things to be running on those. They told us that the old one, they are trying to build an alternative to ease the stress on that bridge. The existing bridge is the only one that allows long vehicles. The new one can only allow small cars. I don't know if it's because of engineering to allow it to settle. I don't know. But how can you build something new and say it cannot carry much load? So that's what they said they've achieved. Second Niger bridge. Imagine it's 63 trillion. Before you get to 63 trillion, remember, you have to count 1 million, count 10 million, count 100 million, count 500 million. Before you count 900 million, 999 million, before you get to 1 billion. Now you have to count 1 billion, 10 billion, 100 billion, 500 billion, 900 billion, 999 billion before you get to 1 trillion. And they have spent 63 of those trillions. Guess what he has achieved with that? Second Niger bridge, Blue Line Railway. I think that was built by Lagos State government, and the deep sea port in Lagos. I think that was built by Pinnacle Oil. So I'm not asking myself, the railway they built by China was borrowed money. Maybe it's part of the 63 trillion. So they built the railway. They left the east, who are people who are doing businesses that need logistics to move their goods and train from Lagos down to the east, that they're supposed to build the railway for, and went and built it in an insurgent area in the north. And guess what happened? Insurgency, which is already there, which is a known factor they know that is there already existing, has affected that train and hampered this movement. How many times has the railway be derailing? Maybe the one that derailed in Lagos is the state railway, the blue line that they built. But the other one that has been built, that was built by the federal government, has not come to the east. So when people talk about marginalization, when people talk about sit at home, it is purely because this part of the country, who are the most industrious, who are the ones that turn the economy up and down and make things move, are being neglected and being sidelined. So they want to show you how powerful they are by sitting at home every Monday until you release, because Sunday Igboho that committed equivalent of what Nnamdi Kanu has committed has been released. So why are we still holding Nnamdi Kanu against court orders? There was court processes. So what is the problem? Now, this is the reason why our economy, our naira, everything is depreciating. And another side effect to that is brain drain. So middle class are all running off from Nigeria because they want to be able to live in a society they can be proud of. They know what their contemporaries are making elsewhere, so they are moving. So you have a lot of doctors leaving the system, and what is happening now is that one doctor is to 5,000 citizens. 5,000, one doctor. That's the ratio. Whereas by world standard, they are supposed to have about one doctor to about hundreds of people. You have about thousands, 5,000. And so many other crises. I was listening to the foreign minister today on TV, or from yesterday, Politics Today by Sheung. Now he was saying that about 5,500 Nigerians are in Sudan. And I'm asking myself, Sudan, what are they going to study in Sudan? We are losing money to all the other countries of the world. Because when you go to Sudan, you are going to pay as an international student. You are going to have to live somewhere. You are going to have to buy food. All these things are economic value that we are losing. A lot of Nigerians are in Ghana. A lot of Nigerians are in Egypt. And one of the key things that Nigerians seek for is education. Because in the north, there are some parts of the north that their schools are closed because of insurgency. There are some parts of the north that the schools are closed for years, not even months, because of insurgency. So we're in a situation whereby we have security challenges, we have corrupt politicians, we have, economic breakdown, And we also have all these things that governments are fighting themselves with stupid policies, like the Naira redesign. A lot of businesses died a natural death. And then you have other stupid policies like banning Twitter, which the young ones are using as an alternative to make money instead of going into anything illegal. Now you ban Twitter for months, and people lost businesses, and nobody cares. All they will come and tell you is that we are sorry. So, I know people have been telling me to make the video very short, but please, if it's only 20 minutes you have in your time, please watch the 20 minutes and switch off. But I'm trying to reduce the time, but I cannot address everything in a very short time. So please do bear with me if it's longer than what you expect. But we have to touch on all these topics because these things are very, very important. Consuming is not a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing. If we're a consuming nation, it's a good thing. The only thing is that we need to produce to match our consumption. We need to be able to produce. Yes, Nigeria is 200 million people, and it's good. Do you know why? Because if you're a musician, you can easily sell to 200 million people. As against somebody from Ghana who probably can sell to only 63 million people, then he starts advertising abroad to be able to sell his music across border. But in Nigeria, you're in a big market. So if you're into importation, for example, and you import in Nigeria, you have 200 million people in the market to sell to. So it's good. The only thing is, when there is high demand of fuel and there is less production of that same fuel, it becomes a problem. People start hoarding, the prices keep going up, and also people start doing all sorts to get it. And then there will be unfair sharing of that same resource. And that's where the problem comes in. Now, Nigeria, as the 6th largest oil producing country in the world, cannot afford to refine their own oil. Even when people has come out to say the local refineries are even better than one refined abroad and imported back into the country, government has ignored these local refineries. They've ignored them. So what we have is a case whereby government imports loads of shipments of fuel back from the Western world where they refine our crude, and then find out that all of them are bad products. They are bad fuel because water has gotten into them or whatever. And then the whole country has to pass through all those fuel being sent back and reworked on or whatever to be able to buy it back. That is the mess APC has given to Nigerians in the last 7 years. And these are the things that hamper growth, economic growth, and that's what made, when I left Nigeria, £1 was 250. So when I was paying my school fees, the exchange rate I used was 250. Now £1 as of today is 925 on the black market because you can't get money in the banks. If you apply to get money in the bank now, you are talking about next 3 years. Even as an importer, as a businessman, you can't get it. So that's the kind of system we have. Governments coming out to say they don't have dollar and they cannot pay international bodies like Emirates. That's why they closed down their airline, because they are being owed by Nigerian government. And all this happened under the APC. Now, going back to the foreign minister, we had crisis of Nigerians with the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. We had crisis with Ghanaians attacking our embassy. We had crisis with in Ukraine. All these places, including the current Sudan, Nigerians have not been evacuated on time, have not been evacuated as it should, as other countries are doing, purely because there is nothing on ground to provide for those kind of cases. So they are not learning lessons from what has happened in the past. Because after the South African one, we thought when the Ghana one was happening, that probably they have now planned something in place. As I'm talking to you now, Air Peace, a private airline, is what they are recruiting to go and extract people or evacuate Nigerian students from Sudan. What happened to our military aircraft? If we had Nigerian Airways, is it not when we're supposed to be using it? How many Nigerians do we have? I've already spoken about demand. 200 million people have to be flying around the whole world. Or let's say not all the 200 million people, but at least 50 million of them that are not living under poverty line, right? They are traveling up and down, or a good percentage of that 50 million. And we don't have a single airline. And you are talking about economy. All the promise that APC made, they are going to reduce the presidential aircraft, the presidential fleet, blah, 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 blah. All those things, nothing was done in the last 7 years. In fact, they took our presidential fleet, packed it in the UK while they were servicing our president for over 8 months. He was away on medical tourism. And you want our economy to grow. Is it magic? So you have in the north, the insurgency that is disturbing farmers. Farmers have to pay taxes to terrorists in a country that has military. The same military is spending money on Afghanistan, $1 million, spending money sending our troops to other countries to do what I don't even know. You have a crisis. Boko Haram has been in existence for more than 10 years and nothing has been achieved. Nothing has been achieved. And we are sending our troops elsewhere on peacekeeping mission. Whereas our own country, we've not kept peace. On top of that, we don't even know if there is connivance of government, because from all indications of what we are told, there's connivance. There's connivance. And these things are making our military appear weak, and also some people are getting enriched from it. Because as I explained in earlier lives or earlier talks, these people have been benefiting from all this because it's a booming industry. We're talking about hundreds of millions industry here, right? So going back to what I was trying to explain, what is the best practice? What should we be doing? We are supposed to be encouraging industrialization, production. A good example is Innocent. Innocent now produces keke. Keke that people look down on is excess of 1 million. Keke is not cheap. So we are spending money going to China importing these things. Now we have Innocent producing it. So what we need to do is to buy from Innocent. That way Innocent will pay more taxes. That way Innocent will employ more hands. That way we can also have our own product being sold elsewhere. And that will be part of our GDP. As an example. Now P2B has invested in Emza rice. Now I do not know why our rice is still as expensive as 50-something thousand for a bag during Christmas anyway, when I last checked. But then we need to make it affordable to the people by producing more and putting it out there in the market. Because I don't know how you can be claiming we're the largest rice producer in the country, or in Africa rather, and yet rice is too expensive on the streets of Nigeria. So we have to make it make sense. So the concept of demand and supply is the basic rule of economy in simple man's language. All the borrowing of money and all the rest is for infrastructure and capital investments. But then we cannot see, it cannot yield very immediate returns in terms of our economic growth and everything, because things like bridge will not give you any profit, so to speak, but will allow people to sort of transport themselves and spend more time in their businesses rather than waiting in traffic. But then it will not give you a very hard evidence of that money. Do you understand? You cannot realize that benefit immediately. So the benefit realization is more long term. But what we are trying to say here is the role of industrialization. Without power, you cannot have industries. So we need electricity to be increased, electricity production. Ghana has celebrated over 3 years of uninterrupted power supply. Nigeria needs to have uninterrupted power supply for our industries to be able to be powered. And that is, you will find out that is the only thing you need to provide to Nigerians, and they can produce so many things. A lot of people can produce iron sponge. There's a lot of industries in Nigeria already. People don't know this. There are so many things that are being manufactured by Chinese in Nigeria. There are doors, there are building materials that are already produced in Nigeria. Do you understand? Now, we need to find a way to make more of these things come in and help these businesses. Not when somebody tries to open a business straight for a few months or 1 year or so, the next thing they will close down because of all these issues. Because bank will tax you left, right, and center, make you pay so many things. If you are doing transaction and you have 50 payments in a day, you have 50 charges in a day. If you have 100 outgoings, you pay 100 charges on those. So in a way, we are the ones killing ourselves, and that's why our economy is very, very bad. So there's no way a president will sit there for 7 years and come out and tell us that he has done so well when we used to buy rice 15,000 and now we're buying it 52,000. regardless of whether you say crude oil makes 10% of your of our GDP or of our what do you call it, revenues. The most important thing still remains. Whatever APC thought they've achieved, we cannot see it. The poor man on the streets cannot feel it. Whatever it is. Yes, they stopped importation of rice and they claim we're exporting. If we're exporting, what of people in Nigeria? Why are they not buying them? Why is rice not flooded in the market of Nigeria? Why is rice still very expensive? For example, just looking at rice, for example. Because that's what people understand as economy. If people buy rice, and Nigeria is one place that everything sort of hinges on fuel price. Even things that have nothing to do with fuel. So if the price of fuel goes up, you'll find out that everybody will increase how much they are selling anything they are selling, the merchandise. And the idea is that, oh, if transport was 50 naira before, because of fuel price, transport is now 100 naira. So the woman that is selling vegetable will want to increase because he has to add that 100 naira, which is an extra 50 naira cost, to her cost and try to make profit, which is just to cover that profit of 100 naira cost. Do you understand? As not to be at a loss. So we need to find a way to make at least those things we have in our country accessible to us. Our rice is supposed to be flooded in our market. Our oil needs to be refined. If we don't have complete refinery and we don't want to give Dangote the oil to start refining, since he already he's built a private one, let us allow local refineries to do this thing so as to do what? Even if they have to be local refiners that will be selling things like kerosene or little things that not it must not be to go to the filling station. The ones that go to the filling station can still be the ones that are imported for now, while they look into our refineries. But we need to make some intentional efforts to help the country. Release Mande Nnamdi Kanu, give him his terms of release and let him abide on it. Don't send soldiers to his village to go and kill him, because that's what happened the last time. And then let Igbos come back from their sit at home and start doing business on Monday. Before you know it, the naira value will drop against the dollar and our economy will be fine. But if nobody wants to accept this truth and they keep pretending like they don't know what to do, eventually, before you know it, months and years will go and people will continue to wallow in this what? Poverty. So whereas we are producing the richest man in Africa, we're also producing the highest number of poor people in the whole of Africa and the whole world. It is a shame. Somebody was saying that we don't have, I think it was Shehu that was telling the foreign minister that we don't have it, no country respects us. And why would anybody respect you? Even Ghana was telling Nigerians to go. Because even in our own country, our own countrymen are telling us to go. Lagos is telling Igbos to go. And this is not coming from the mouth of an ordinary man on the street. This is coming from the mouth of the presidential spokesperson of APC, Femi Fani-Kayode, a former aviation minister, ordering Igbos back to the southeast, of which his wife is part of that people that gave him 3 sons. Followed by MC Oluomo during the elections. You cannot vote here. Followed by Wike's boys saying that Igbos are not allowed to vote in River State. And tomorrow you come and tell us we are one Nigeria. These same people you are marginalizing are the powerhouse of your economy, are the ones known for the business, are the ones buying lands and developing. They are the catalysts for growth. The people you are supposed to pamper, the people you are supposed to accept, the people you are supposed to say, okay, do this, you guys know how to do this. Let the economy grow. Let everybody be happy. No. Let them go back. Not forgetting where they come from. It's not because they don't like to stay there, but because intentionally the federal government does not want to give them any big infrastructure that will help them to grow. So they lack development because there is no seaport. It was only recently that federal government managed to open Enugu airport. That one again is attributed to Buhari. Let's give him his flowers for those he has done. But if you land in that airport, you will see how small it is. Now, Dave Umahi of Abakaliki of Ebonyi State have built a nice, very beautiful edifice in Abakaliki. So I'm hoping that before Buhari steps out of power, that he will also give him the license for international flights to land there. Do you understand? Apart from these two airports and the bridge that I just told you that does not carry big, long vehicle. According to what I was told, though, I'm not very certain on this, so don't quote me. Now, apart from this, the rail line that ran the whole Nigeria is not in the southeast. So how do you want these people to feel about your one Nigeria? So what you find out is that a lot of people from the Igbo extraction have left Nigeria mentally. Mentally, they won't tell you. They will sit there and be telling you we're all having the same passport. But mentally, they've moved out of Nigeria. And that is the worst thing that can happen to any country. When you have unpatriotic citizens, citizens that does not care about the country, citizens that if they see what will harm the country, they will allow it to fly. Because they don't feel loved. So, an Igbo man, for example, in Ghana, he's been told to go back to Nigeria. He lands in Lagos. He's been told to go back to Southeast. How do you want him to feel? An Igbo man in Southeast, in South Africa, I mean to say, he's been told to move back. And even South Africa have issued a new letter telling Nigerians to move away again from their country. So these are the challenges. You don't feel at home anywhere in the world. You are not welcomed abroad in Africa. You are not welcomed abroad, in your own town, in Lagos. What is all this? And nobody from the APC camp have said anything, including their presidential select, or the president-select. So we're in a serious issue. This is why our economy will not grow. And we have to do something about it. It is very, very imperative that we understand these things. I'm not here to talk about problems. I'm here to talk about solutions. The reason of me trying to do this, opening a YouTube channel, trying to open the page on Facebook, is so if you have anybody in government, send these things to them. They are clueless. The whole idea of doing the Naira design, Emefiele was talking up, talking down. It's going to help to bring the money, the billions that are not in circulation, that are out of the banking system. All what not? All what not? And what he will achieve. As I'm talking to you, the Naira is still 925 Naira to a pound. And that is almost about 800 to $1. So what has he achieved with all those exercises? And who practically, in a country like 200 million, in a country like Nigeria, who practically can do Naira redesign and recirculation in 3 months? Are we kidding? Cameroon is doing the same thing and is lasting, they said, until the whole money goes out of this process, the hands of the people slowly. They are not going to put a set date and see this is when all the old notes are becoming illegal. But that's what Nigeria did. Because APC is clueless. Emefiele is clueless. So there's so many policies that this government have done which has hampered the growth of the economy. And this is the simplest way to judge or to justify any government on how well they've done. So APC has scored woefully, and that makes it impossible for APC to win the presidential election again. So we have a Muslim ticket winning after a Muslim person has been in government for 8 years. And how does that show inclusivity and fairness to the Christians in the country? Owing to the fact that it's a secular, it's meant to be a secular country. So we're in a big problem. Now, we need to go back to the drawing board. And this is the solution. Release Nnamdi Kanu. Give him bail criteria or whatever. Soludo, a sitting governor, has asked Buhari, give me this man. Because Soludo has gone back, immediately became governor. He wanted to stop the sit at home. He saw that even IPOB have lost control of the sit at home. IPOB is telling people, oh yeah, we've stopped sit at home. Nobody wants to listen. This man is loved. I don't care if you are Igbo. I don't care how you see Nnamdi Kanu. If you go down to Southeast, you will know this man is loved. An Igbo man will not close his shop for anything. Anything. But these people are gladly closing their businesses 4 days in a row. In some occasions, for Nnamdi Kanu. So there is no way you can, there is no alternative. Release the man, give him bail conditions, seize his passport if you may. But release the man, let the people know that this man is released, go back to their businesses. That will increase the turnover on Mondays. And that's, I'm talking about, because Southeast does not have a different banking system. They don't have a different economy. We are still one Nigeria, as far as Nigeria is concerned. So because of that, that is hampering the growth. Now, people like FFK and MC Oromo must be detained. They must be made to retract their nonsense, what do you call it again, bigotry, their statement against the Igbos. No man should be allowed to be above the law, regardless of who you are and your affiliations. All these things we're allowing to take its course. People are taking notes. Look at Igbo land, for example. We used to say Igbos are not very good, they are not intelligent in terms of politics, but that is not the case now. Our political class don't they get small sense small, because the people now stand with people that are standing on the truth. People are now standing. If a governor talks now, nobody will listen, because the people, they know you. You wouldn't know. You'll be blowing siren, be carrying escort, they will leave you. Now when you talk, you go know whether people send you or not. But look at the 5 states in Igbo land. We have about 4 different political parties. That is because people are not voting political parties anymore. In Igbo land, they have Imo State, APC, Abia State, Labour Party, Enugu State, PDP, Ebonyi State, APC, Anambra State, APGA. 4 different parties. And that's how they are mixed up in their state assemblies. Labour Party, PDP, APC, everywhere. So you cannot come and run a party system to woo the people in the southeast. If you are not doing your business, Oga, shift. That is how intelligent people should reason. That's what we expect Nigerians to be doing. Now, another thing is, they were asking Iwanyanwu, the Zenith Labour Party chairman on Channels TV, and he owned up to this. Igbos are smart, because when we hear about zoning, people think this zoning is only on the federal level. No. Zoning also happens on the state level. Even down to other things like ministerial appointments. You have to zone so that everybody will feel among. There are intelligent people everywhere. There is nothing like monopoly of knowledge. Nobody has monopoly of wisdom. God has given all of us brain. So if this group of people can produce an intelligent person, there is likelihood that this group of people have an intelligent person of equal ability or even more. So there is no way you can keep a particular zone producing president, or governor, out of the others. In Enugu State, why Enugu have remained peaceful is because Enugu has been doing zoning when it comes to governorship. Nkanu will bring a governor. After 8 years, he goes to Udi. Udi will bring a governor. After 8 years, he goes to Nsukka. And do you know what is important? Regardless of whether it is the same godfather that is bringing them, or they switched on their godfather while they were in office, it doesn't matter. The most important thing is that after this zone will bring. The same thing is applicable in Anambra. This zone will bring, senatorial zone will bring, and that senatorial zone will bring. So every zone knows when it comes to them. Other zones will wait for their turn. So if these things are happening on a state level, that's why Igbos are telling you that the president is supposed to be zoned in the whole Nigeria for equity and what? Fairness and justice. Why did it come to the turn of the southeastern zone and all of a sudden Tinubu said it's my own turn? Your turn is what do you call it? Obasanjo not a Yoruba man. How is it your turn? Wike wanted to block in PDP. Wike is good luck. Not your statesman. Is he not from South? So this is the problem. We allow selfish interests of people to overshadow the common goal or the common purpose of the whole country. We need to look at what do we want for Nigeria, a stable place. So why are we allowing a Muslim to come after a Muslim and a Muslim for that matter, not even a Muslim Christian? You are neglecting all these things, and then what happens? So we need to allow other people, so people will feel among. For example, in Edo State, I don't know what the system is, Peter, but then if we have somebody from Eshan, then we should have somebody from the other tribe as well, or the other clan. Because whether you like it or not, Nigeria is not a people. Nigeria is an amalgamation, right? And because it's an amalgamation, all different nations have to what? Feel among. All this dividing by states as well made matters worse. But it could have been good when we had regional government. Then you know a whole region, one governor. But now that you've created one region, this eastern region, have now produced about let's say 11 governors. How do you now come and tell them, let's go back to regional government? Let this whole 11 governors now be one. They will kill each other. But that is where we made the mistake. The creating into states and then depending of oil in the central or on the central. So we need to look at these things. Emilokan, okay. So if a lot of people are okay with that, that's fine. But why I'm pointing out the one in Southeast is that has allowed, even in Ebonyi State, every section will produce a governor. So everybody will know, okay, oh, this is not our turn. Let's allow. Even if people run, they will not business them. They know they are wasting their money. Because there are people that want to raise their ugly heads. And in Enugu said, the person that wanted to run was Ekwere Madu. He was powerful politician. He was in senator, the same one that has been in the UK here. He was powerful, but they told him, no, it's the turn of the Nkano. You can't come out now. So we need to allow these things to be placed. If Wike did not show interest, and Atiku did not show interest, or Atiku lowers himself and say, okay, he wants to be a vice president to Peter Obi, which we know it won't happen. But let's say, assuming that Peter Obi was still in PDP, trust me, PDP would have swept the whole Nigeria. If PDP has given Peter Obi that ticket, it would have been a clean sweep. But look at where we are. But that notwithstanding, we need to get rid of both PDP and APC. Because the truth is that two of them are two sides of a coin. But what I'm here to say is that we need to grow our politics. To a point we look at the people, the personalities, like the Southeast is doing. We have 4 different parties in the Southeast. 4. So in 5 states, you have 4 different parties, which means people are not always looking at parties anymore. They are looking at individuals. You have in my state an Okada man that became a lawmaker. Now, when I asked questions, they said even though he's driving Okada, he was an educated guy. He had a degree. So let's not look down on people because of money. That's not my ideology. My ideology in life is, if you are honest, if you stand on the truth, I will support you. You will be my role model. I will follow you. Because money is nothing. As far as I'm concerned, somebody is printed. As we are talking now, money is being printed. So it is nothing to do with how trustworthy you are. I've spoken about education before. So we don't learn how to to have integrity or to be an honest person in school. It's what our society is supposed to be teaching us. But unfortunately, our society have left honesty and started praising money, regardless of who has it or whichever way you've made that wealth. So we need to go back on these things, and this is why I started talking about these things. Let us know what is the best practice. We need to find a way to get our economy back on track, because as a country we have the resources, we have the manpower, we have the the weather to be a great nation. So what exactly is the reason why we have a situation of one unit of pound to about 920 something units of naira? A country that has no resources versus a country that has a lot of resources. Corruption, all of these things. Now, they're inviting the Minister of Finance and Attorney General and all these people from APC to come and account for all the billions of stolen oil from oil theft. And none of them want to come to the Senate. Blatant refusal of order, ignoring court orders, and you tell me that these people understand what democracy is all about, what judiciary is all about. Lawmakers are not respected. They're supposed to be the top, because it's supposed to be legislature, then judiciary, before executive. So that's why the legislative arm now is saying that they want to take some powers from the executive. And they should. We need to checkmate the president and the presidency, because they're just doing anything they like. Finance minister is saying that they didn't receive this money. NNPC is saying that they remitted this money. So where did the money go to? If NNPC said they gave you billions and you are saying you received millions, what happened to the rest? People are just going into the national coffers, taking money, doing anything they like. I'm going to stop here, and I pray that God will help us. I've given my own, my own best practices, advice that I could, but somebody has to implement this. And somebody sitting somewhere has it on his desk. That's his role. That's his responsibility. Unfortunately, of all the ministers, you see, somebody was trying to say Buhari is a good man, but he's just surrounded by the wrong team, or he picked the wrong team. That is where you fail. You start failing when you start choosing people. Look, under Buhari, how many IGPs has he changed? That's to tell you his selection process is very, very bad. He doesn't know how to pick the best team, because you can't be picking people that are still doing the same thing over and over again. Either you yourself have a problem, or you don't know how to look at people and select the right ones. So if you look at all the ministers and all the ministries under Buhari, all of them are nonsense. Is it Festus Keyamo is doing well in his ministry? Or is it in Ngige that the whole country went into strike for how many months? As went into strike, fighting with a home minister. Or is it Fashola that has managed to build Lagos-Ibadan road and put toll gates there that will be charging Nigerians for God knows how long? The same way they've been charging Nigerians money on the Lekki toll gates. So who exactly in that cabinet can you say, or is it the finance minister that cannot confirm anything, claiming that they are paying money to Nigeria? We don't know who is receiving the money. They should list the Nigerians that they've been giving those money for. They're saying they are helping Nigerians, giving 5,000 to them. Criminals everywhere. A good man will only attract good people. Thank you. Peter B said it. If he himself is not corrupt, nobody will be corrupt. Buhari is the most corrupt and very, 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 corny man. He has that presentation of, I will go to Dara, I want to leave office. Do you know why he wants to leave office? He has already made a big mess. In June, subsidy will be removed. The price of fuel will go up. And he doesn't want to be part of it. So he said he can't wait. He can't wait. Oh, I must hand over power. You will think he's a good man. He has made a big mess. When I mean big mess, he just want to carry all those debts. 78 trillion. Dump on one person. Boom. You are coming into office. You have to pay. You start scratching your head. So Buhari has been the worst, the most detrimental person in power in Nigeria, as far as Nigeria is concerned. And that pardon is asking for. He should go and ask God for pardon. It is not for us to yeah. They are sharing money to spiritual Nigeria. I don't know who that finance minister. That finance minister needs to be probed. And EFCC have not been making arrests for God knows how long. That small boy they put there has not been making any arrests. Nobody, no politician is. Since they quieted Okorocha, since the Okorocha incident, no other person. Use them for witch hunting. ICPC did not, since Abakari, even till now, Abakari have not been extradited to America. So when you look at every ramification, Buhari is the most corrupt. And his government have been the worst off. Simple way to know. They are claiming that Nigeria has the highest rice production in the Africa. Where is the rice? How much do you... Peter, how much is rice in Benin? Bag of rice. The last time it's not 52,000. Has the price of rice come down? Buhari is the worst president with any fear of contradiction. I support that. He's the worst. Is it our Minister of Education that is working? Do you even know who is the Minister of Education? It was during their time they are buying presidential form that we saw Minister of Education spend 40 million or 100 million to go and buy a form that you want to run for president. Minister of Education. We don't know who you are. We don't know what you've achieved. We are in a country whereby anybody can claim to be in office and you don't know. There is no... you have to do appraisal. There should be an appraisal process. Nobody is appraising anybody. Nobody cares about anything. And Nigerians are being dealt with, the back and head all the time. Look at our economy. Look at our economy. We're a laughing stock in Africa. Even Egypt here have steady power supply. The same company, Siemens. Why is Siemens able to produce or provide light for these people in the same Africa and cannot provide light for us? And every time you meet all these expatriates, they will always tell you that it is our government, that they are corrupt. Our lawyers are corrupt in terms of finding the oil theft this thing when they were probing it. They said unless this case is tried in America, Nigerian government is corrupt. That is the image we have. Because we are being ruled by those that hate the country. Bag of Nigerian rice with stone still sell for above 40k a bag. Is that not the same rice that they are boasting that Nigeria produces the highest in the whole world, in the whole Africa? 40,000. Rice used to be 6,000 a bag. When I was in Nigeria, it used to be 6,000 to buy foreign rice. Abakaliki rice used to be even cheaper. What nonsense APC have done to us. How much is fuel? Fuel is even scarce. And we are oil producing. Shame on APC. Shame on all of you. I don't care who you are. You're standing. You come out on TV and talk nonsense. If we are to rate your government is the worst. Military. In fact, military, they enjoy Nigeria doing military now. That's why some people are calling for the military back. Not because they want the orders and the decrees and the commands. Purely because Nigeria was better under the military rule. So military rule combined with civilian rule, this administration is the worst. Just lying up and down. What can you look at and say, which I'm trying to find a sector that we did well in. I'm just thinking which sector did well. Which minister can I say he did well? Are we talking about the foreign minister? Even the foreign minister that is trying. We have to use a private airline, Air Peace, to a lift. In fact, he said it was to a cost to him as a business. Alain Onyema personally went to South Africa to evacuate Nigerians. Ghana time. I didn't even know what they did to Ghana. Now, foreign minister said they made Emirates to stop coming into the country because of how they were treating Nigerians in Dubai. Fair enough, they did that one. But Emirates still accused Nigeria of not paying them their money in dollars. And Nigeria said they don't have enough dollar. Can you imagine? No minister under Buhari is doing well. How can your whole cabinet not do well? Because you are bad, you are corrupt. Look at what he promised us. Electoral law. They brought the first one. He refused. Even now. Okay, they said that the constitution has been changed more under Buhari. Now, but there is a new thing that they've sent, a lot of bills that have been sent to the president to sign. Out of all the thing, he signed few. 16 are still unsigned. Excuse me. Still, Buhari will tell you the one he will sign and the one he will not sign. He will refuse to sign. And what they are referencing is that during Obasanjo's time, that Obasanjo refused to sign some into law. But we need to move forward. We need to move forward. You can't be saying with one side of your mouth that you mean well for the country and you're taking actions that are opposite. You can't be telling us you want us to have the best free and fair election and give us the worst election. Because there is no way you will tell us that with all these credentials and CV that Nigerians still want you. The same Nigerians that didn't have any pity on good luck. The same Nigerians that voted after 4 years, not even second term. It's not telling me that with all these things that you've made in life, okay, tell me one thing that Nigerians are enjoying under APC now to say, okay, they will stay more with you. So let's not make ourselves a laughing stock. We know what is right. Let us do what is right. 8 years wasted. People are running away. I know how many people have come from Nigeria. I'm telling you the honest truth. In the last 7 years, the amount of people that have left Nigeria, have japa, is many. And consumption is not the problem. I will have to say this again. In fact, the more the consumption, the better. But what have to also match up that consumption is supply, is the production. And we're not producing enough because we don't have power. We don't have security. Education is... See, Nigerians are running away to go and study in America, for those that have money, in Germany. The Nigerians are... see, in this census, this census they really want to do, if they really want to do well, they should find a way of counting Nigerians abroad if there is no record of that already. You will find out that Nigerians abroad might be very close to Nigerians in Nigeria. Because when I was told 5,500 students are in Sudan, not to talk about people who emigrated long ago, second generation, third generation, fourth generation living in Sudan. I'm not asking myself, Sudan? To go and do what? And the person representing the student union came on TV. So actually it's true. What are they doing in Sudan? Studying. So Sudanese government's education is better than Nigeria. I'm coming up to 1 hour mark, and this is as far as I can go. I pray that somebody listens to these videos. Please share this video, like, subscribe, and watch on my YouTube channel, and I'll continue to deliberate on this, on more topics. And thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Peter, and then God bless you.